Hey all, I hope everyone's doing well wherever you find yourself in the world, and I hope you can forgive me for reading this word for word, but I want to remain logical and serious rather than be perceived as emotional or triggered. I want to say I'm in no way a professional, let alone amateur commentator, but I am a concerned citizen, father, and an American. Apathy has and is slowly taking our society down the drain here in America. The whole world and those of us in America who aren't blinded by the Trump administration's desire to divide and conquer us all are trying so hard to break these white conservatives from their cult. I see nothing but divisiveness on a platform that actively creates bot accounts to stir division and keep engagement numbers up. I'm guilty of this as well. I watch the world around me crumble in 4K. Maybe I'm in an echo chamber, but that's why I decided to film and speak my truth out loud, in the hopes to find other Americans feeling the sense of extreme loneliness. I wake up in the sea of red conservatism that is Kansas City, Missouri, as a blue dot, and I wait for anyone to say anything about what is happening all across our country, and every day I'm let down. Not one person who looks like me says a damn thing, and I have only found refuge in minorities who oftentimes, and more than not, walk the other way when they see a white man walking their way. I don't blame them, and I know why they do it. They do it because people who look like me have made them feel small for years, and now that's escalated to making them feel unsafe wherever they find themselves. I'm not some bleeding heart liberal. I'm a human being that chooses people over profit. We live in a society that is more expensive than the rest of the world and have a worse quality of life for it. Taxes are not a bad thing, so long as you can see and reap the rewards of those taxes. We say Europeans pay too much in taxes as we watch people get gunned down every day. How is that normal? And if more tax dollars went to social well-being, would you consider it so long as we could trust this system again? We as Americans have lower taxes but allow companies to fee us to death over things we already pay for so that corporations can make billions every single year. Are you getting a kickback? I'm not. My personal anecdote starts with my grandparents who were rural Arkansas Depression-era citizens. They slept in the dirt and migrated to California every harvest to pick so that they would have money to survive the winters of the South when our growing season is over. They left Arkansas for a better economy and created a successful family drywall business here in Kansas City. They did well enough to build the home I was blessed to grow up in while not staying with my mom. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom originally on 5 acres with a garage, garden, and barn. Now I realize how privileged that sounds, but growing up I felt poor compared to everyone around us. We canned our food. We recycled clothes. We never had, any of the new shiny, the things that capitalism tells you that you need. And looking back as an adult, it makes me realize how privileged I was just to have a garden that I could have fresh vegetables and fruit, to have a yard I could go play out in, to have woods around me. I mean, that I'm so sad for the youth who get to grow up around Amazon warehouses that are going up in the same places I used to ride my bike as a kid. I got off a little bit and I want to find my place. Forgive me. Now, looking back as a person who makes more money than both of my grandparents and parents and more education, I realize I will never have that type of wealth in my life if I choose to stay here. My grandparents both died of cancer, and they both went into crippling debt trying to fight for their lives. Our home was taken from us, and the system that profited off of treatment, hospital visits, prescriptions said that was not enough. The home was repossessed. That same loan that made profit since the 1970s off of interest, inflation, and guess what? The bank gets the house and they get to turn around and sell it at a giant profit to another borrower, generating more interest. When is enough profit enough? The disparity we have in our society is despicable. We have rich Americans who live in these manicured suburbs with their head in the clouds, with every business and service under the sun because companies want profit, and they'll only serve those that have money. The politicians that make these decisions do not participate in our retirement system. They receive medical benefits for life, all while cutting Medicare and Medicaid for real working Americans that cannot afford health care already, which is our money, ours. We pay insurance companies hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime just for them to deny coverage or make you pay a deductible to cover some of the cost. How do the people who do not participate get to cut something that was set aside for us as citizens and not at least have a more prosperous, equitable idea lined up? It is because they do not care, and they wrap it in these $5 words and charts to make you feel stupid for asking questions. That the facts are just as nuanced for any of us simple-minded folk to get. We have the President of the United States warmongering our own citizens and cities, but silent on the Russia situation and China situation. Russia blows Ukraine up every single day. We mourn our 9/11, which is the day I'm filming this, and as we should. It was a tragedy, without ever considering that every day for the last 4 years now has been 9/11 for Ukrainian citizens. Not their military, hospitals, schools, retirement homes, civilian infrastructure. And unless you pay attention to the geopolitics from sources outside of this country, you wouldn't know that. It's just left versus right. I follow everything in the world happening right now to the best of my ability out of obligation to the free world as Russia looks to take over countries that fought to break away from the Soviet Union for their own independence and democracy. It was called perestroika and solidarity. That's something that if Americans had any sense of education and on history, they would be looking to do that. Promote solidarity, promote perestroika, which means like transparency from the government. Why are we not demanding that? We also have China intimidating most of the Southeast Asia, but primarily Taiwan, as well as spying on our military, hacking our infrastructure, which I didn't know what infrastructure meant when I was in my early 20s. I was like, but just to give you an example, water is infrastructure. And they use electrically gated systems to pipe it in, pipe it out, to monitor these things. What happens if you have an IT outage or a hack, something to take these down? That's fresh water. We can't live without 3 days without water. Electricity, again, when's the prime time to do that? In the coldest months and in the hottest months. People are going to freeze. People are going to die of heat. And phones, so they can listen, they can monitor, they can do anything they would like in our system. And instead of talking about combating this, we spend our days talking about trans people. Most people who care about trans people have never even met one. It is a rare situation, and it does not deserve this bandwidth that we give it while ignoring everything else. Trans issues and rights are so important, and they deserve equality. That's it. End of discussion. Done. Move on. Next issue. But instead it's become just the scapegoat for conservatism. These countries are bot farming our social media and creating chaos with fake profiles so that we all walk around apathetic and paralyzed by the tragedy that is the 24-hour news cycle. Now, if I still have anyone's attention at this point, even if you disagree, please do so with some tact in the comments and let's talk about it. If you agree, please support me in the comments so that I don't feel so alone in this. I'm asking for real dialogue that isn't a talking point given to you from a meme or an influencer. I'm tired of the divide and not feeling safe, which is rich coming from a white guy who looks like I do. But that's the truth. I have an LGBTQIA+ flag, a Mexican flag, a Ukrainian flag, and a Palestinian flag hanging outside of my apartment, and I'm waiting for a rock or some radicalized person to come busting through my place of peace. I wish I was kidding, but I do. I think every single day that my freedom of expression is going to be the downfall of me. Pardon me. Lost my spot. But I would rather deal with the consequences of standing for every human being than lie to myself and put my head down and hope I can blend in. Since the assault rifle ban in 2004 expiring, we have seen an increase of over 200% in gun violence. 200%. I was in 4th grade and I am enraged that the adults of this country let that expire and then watch us all become prey and victims of gun violence since then. Nowhere safe. A Chiefs parade, that we won the Super Bowl, everybody's down there celebrating. Gun violence. You can't go out on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday anymore. Gun violence. grocery stores, gun violence. Like nowhere is safe anymore. But especially institutions of education for our youth, which unless they're being indoctrinated, nobody seems to care. Until it's, let me get back on track. I'm just upset with this generation because they spend their days retired, playing golf, and littering the areas that they do not live in with beer cans and trash. That is another personal example. I live here on a golf course in an apartment, and I watch people litter and then drive back to their affluent neighborhoods in their little cyber trucks, where I don't understand how these are the same people telling us that, oh, it'll pass. It's fine for you. A retiree who has a home, who has gotten to reap the rewards of one of the greatest economic periods in American history, thanks to the silent generation, my grandparents' generation. Boomers, you either went to Vietnam or you didn't, and you got to stay here and become prosperous because of it. Now, I know that there was a 70s recession. I got it. Okay? However, the economy recovered and boomed in the 90s. We have not seen the economy recover since 2008. We have not seen real opportunity for American citizens. Economic opportunity happened for corporations. They happened for rich people in the know. They happened for people with disposable income. But for those of us trying to build ourselves up as young people, have constantly had the bar moved. When I was younger, here in Kansas City, you could buy a house for under $200,000. And I didn't gripe about it. I was like, that's expensive to take out that kind of money. But I didn't think it was unattainable. Now, houses around here, an average of $450,000 for a used home, not a new build. And due to our geography, we have very cold winters and we have very hot summers. That type of thing, and tornadoes, which is why we all have basements here. Not all, if you're wealthy enough. And those houses all have foundation issues due to the changing weather. They crack, and that's a $30,000 ticket right there. And they want $500,000 for these homes at 7% interest, which is $300-something thousand of interest over the life of a loan. I don't have $800,000 laying around. Do you? All while the jobs economy is trash. And so this is my plea to anybody who's out there feeling alone to please join this community. Maybe we can make this into something and take our country back. We as young people are going to have to stand up and stand out civilly if we are ever going to have a chance at normal ever again. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking me seriously. And thank you for listening. I know this was a soapbox more than a solution. And I'm sorry that you had to hear yet another hot take on how the world is hot garbage. But I'm a normal person looking for community with normal people and just trying to show that we are out here. We exist. That's the only way to get out of these little radicalized echo chambers, is coming together.